Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I appreciate you working with me to get this done. It's been a long time coming, but I'm very excited to talk about all things Luger. How are you doing?
Well, thank you very much. I just came out of the, how to say, non-filmmaker job that pays the bills and, came back home. It's actually night here in Spain. I don't know what time is it in, where are you right now?
I'm in Houston, Texas. It's 2 p.m.
Okay, okay, yeah. So it will be totally different, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still nice. It's still nice. Well, yeah, let's get into the film. I had a lot of fun with this movie, but you're one of the co-writers for Luger. How did your
Yes.
collaboration with Bruno Martin uh begin, and what did each of you bring to the writing process?
Okay, well, so Bruno and I, we met in 2018. Okay, and we became good friends. And in 2021, I remember that he asked me, for a meeting, and then we went to a bar, and it was fun because he told me, okay, I want to do a movie project, and I want you to write it with me. And I don't know what's going to happen because we don't have much money, but I assure you that it will be done. And actually, I knew Bruno before, I knew his previous projects, and I knew he was able to make it. So I trusted him, and I told him, okay, let's go. And in that moment is where Luger was born, which at the beginning was not Luger because it was another different movie. But suddenly, the script was changing and changing, and it became too complicated. Then we just simplified it, and how to say, during all this process of writing, rewriting, and polishing it, we finish up with this movie that we have right now, right? So the story at the beginning was kind of different. It was about, yes, there were the two thugs that they were friends, and the how to say, one was the muscle, one was the sharp guy, and then they had to do this kind of shady jobs. In this first script, they had to, how to say, help one person to deoccupy his house because there was somebody occupying his house. And then, they find a bag with money, and that bag leads them to another place. And then we started polishing it, simplifying it, and Luger was born.
Yeah, yeah, and it's definitely a polished film. So it's kind of like when I write reviews, I describe movies like that. So I have to agree that it's a very tight, cohesive film. You know, even with Bruno again, he mentioned that the film came together out of necessity. From your perspective, what personal or creative urgencies drove you to co-write this film?
Trusted Bruno a lot, and you know, uh, we wanted to make movies. The problem is that we didn't have somebody who trusts us, to do that. So, uh, like right now, we are meeting in my night because I have to go to my office job. Bruno has also his non-filmmaker job, and we still do this. Why? Because we love it. Because we know that filmmaking is a career that means that you will walk, like in that movie that is going to be released soon, the Long Walk, right? Like, the one man standing, the last man standing is the one who will get his dream, right? That's how we faced it. So, yeah, it was how to say, it was out of necessity because we wanted to make projects. And when you want to make projects but you don't have money, you just need to do it with somebody you can rely on. Okay, somebody that knows that things will be done. That's why I started collaborating with Bruno. And then the seed of the project, actually, of this movie, uh, came out of our friendship because I told you, like, there is much of Bruno and me in this movie, of our friendship, of our kind of brotherhood, and that's how we translate it to the screen.
During that process, did you guys have any disagreements like creatively, and how did you kind of overcome those? Because I'm sure it's interesting to co-write a debut feature because you're still, regardless of how close you are, you're not going to see eye to eye on everything, I would imagine.
Of course, and Jesse, the thing is that Bruno and I, it was our first time.
Yeah.
It's our first time collaborating together. So actually, when it came to the first time, you go with all the illusion, but also you don't know the person. It's like kind of a relationship. So we knew each other better during that process. And then it was funny and also emotional, and there were disagreements, of course, because it was like any other relationship, and we didn't knew exactly each other. So we learned a lot from each other. Bruno told me many times that he has learned a lot about me from me, sorry, but I also learned a lot from him because he writes dialogues in a very, 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 how to say, fantastic way. His spacing of dialogue and of characters was amazing. And I think I was more an structure guy, and he learned more about the structure and being less chaotic from me. I don't know, but we became each other and we started knowing each other. And the funny thing is that uh, there were some moments in the writing process that we didn't agree and we didn't trust each other. Like, there was a moment, for example, that Bruno told me, like, okay, I'm going to go through this that you told me, but I'm not sure about it. And there were also moments that I was going through something that Bruno said, but I wasn't sure about it. For example, Australia. Bruno was not so sure about Australia. And how to say, that was my idea. And for example, I was not so sure about the scene where the how to say rich guy tells them about the whorehouse and what happened inside, because then we don't see it in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And I was I was worried that, okay, maybe we are creating expectations, and maybe people will expect this, and then this doesn't come, and then they will criticize us for this. And it's like, but Bruno told me, no, they are not going to worry about that, and he was right,
Yeah.
and he did it perfectly. And the same happened with Australia when I gave this purpose to these characters, because I told also other interviewers that there is a quote in the movie that is, I'm happy for you, but fuck you. Okay, that came from Bruno, because I was living to Japan, and I got my visa, and it was a hard, how to say, process to get the visa because it was during COVID times and all that stuff. And he asked me why should I leave, and I told him, like, okay, I don't have nothing here in Spain that keeps me. So I didn't have a girlfriend, not a house. So I just want to go and see where, and see what the world has prepared for me. And he told me, like, I'm happy for you, but fuck you. And I saw that he was sad. And he was very sad because he made me realize one thing, that I had friends, I had family that loved me, and I was leaving all of them behind because I was, pursuing another kind of goal or road in my life. But I was kind of disrespecting them because I was thinking, like, okay, I have nothing here. I had something there. So I remember that because 2 days after that conversation, I went to Bruno's house to write, and I told him, like, you know what you told me the other day? We have to put this in the screenplay. So I think that's the beautiful thing of all this process, that we learned a lot from each other, and we learned also how to trust each other, because from now on, when I propose something in the next project we are writing, he trusts me, and when he proposed something and maybe I'm not so sure about it, I trust him because this worked, and the movie is as good as it is because we trusted each other in this moment. So now that we knew each other and we have seen the work, this trust is more strong for both of us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Another thing I like about this film is that it unfolds in a single day inside an industrial park. It's a very constrained space and time. How did that constraint help shape your writing process?
Well, actually, I mean, we are both of us. We agree in that kind of a small restriction, actually helps a lot to the writing creative process because when you have the whole wide world open, I mean, it's good. I'm not going to say it's not, but how to say, your mind can go in so many different ways that actually, how to say, being attached to this kind of structures that limitate a little bit, actually it's good because it makes your mind develop only in one way and not in, how to say, 1,000 different ways, like, I don't know, Doctor Strange different futures.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
That's how make it so. And it was funny because we said like, okay, we are going to make three moments where they go to a different cafe, to eat. So they have the breakfast, and they have the kind of it's like, okay, this 10 passes. And then there were several versions of the scripts where we break this rule, but we always came up with this rule like it has to happen in one day. That's what we wanted from the beginning. A training day, which was an inspiration, or uh, in an RV that they
Yeah.
go to a baseball game. You know which one I
Yeah, I'm familiar with RV.
you. I don't remember that one. Like they ended up in a dangerous district with this kind of mafia guys, this kind of gang following them. Also the Warriors. The Warriors was
Yeah.
a very very uh, big inspiration for us. And after that, it came the Santos 117. Okay, this industrial area that actually is near our houses because Bruno and I are from the same hometown. Collado Villalba, which is 45 kilometers from Madrid. Okay, so actually we grew up here. We filmed our first amateur features here. With me with my friends, Bruno with his friends, and it was kind of beautiful to shoot in this area. And actually, when we were writing it, they came and they went inside the area and then they go outside the area again. And then I don't, because that's also one beautiful thing. I don't know who, if it was Bruno, if it was me, who put this up, but someone says like, okay, maybe they shouldn't leave the industrial area in the whole movie. So even there was an ending where one of them leave the industrial area, the other not. But then it was like, no, they shouldn't. They should stay here because this industrial area is kind of a character itself, right?
It
That is
is.
swallowing them. So when we put that this restriction too, like, okay, it's going to happen in one day and it's going to happen inside the industrial area. Suddenly, all that complicated things that we had because we were complicating ourselves, especially with the ending of the movie, suddenly everything became so simple because it was like, okay, now things are working out.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree more. And to wrap up, now that Luger has premiered, at festivals and just around the world, what does that milestone mean for you as a writer?
Well, I mean, as a writer, it's a big achievement. First of all, because it's my first feature, so uh, I didn't knew how it was going to come. Because I knew our screenplay was good, I liked it a lot, but when it comes to go out of your comfort zone, of our world of short films and all that stuff, when we played in the big league of the feature films, it's not the same. You don't compete against, when you make a short film, you compete against products that they are more or less, they have the same kind of budget, sometimes more, sometimes less, but they move in the smaller range. This is so why we are competing in fest movies. I don't know. For now, we are in Sitges, and in Sitges, there's going to be this movie from Guillermo del Toro, the new Frankenstein, and I'm sure that he will have a $1 million budget, and we have not. We have an independent movie. So as a writer, with this small movie achieving, going to Fantastic Fest, going to Strasbourg Fantastic Film Week, now to Sitges, and eventually at the end of this year going to cinemas, at least in Spain, that's amazing, that's a go even it's a dream of my life that came true. I make a movie, and this movie was projected in the biggest and better film festivals of the whole world, fantastic film festival of the whole world. The audience is liking it, because also the audience is enjoying the movie. So, and then the movie is going to be released in cinemas. So, I couldn't be happier. Even if I have to go back to my office work, it's like, I mean, I'm going to put also another movie example, 8 Miles. I feel like Eminem, he win the freestyle battle and then he goes back to work. But he goes back to work happy. I'm the same guy, I go back to work happy. So for me, it's achieving a goal in my life. And of course, my final goal is to make my living with filmmaking, trying to become a filmmaker in the whole time, as a full-time filmmaker, and live with this income. But for the moment, it's not possible. It's okay. I achieved this big milestone that for me it was a very, very important goal, and it gave me so much energy and a power up to keep on going on this long walk until we will see where it takes us. But when you make a movie, mm, people in the industry look at you different. And actually, it's not that we just make a movie, but we made a good movie.
Mhm.
So I think that people is going to at least listen a little bit more to us and be more open for us, pitching new ideas. And well, I mean, maybe the time will prove me wrong, but for the moment, I hope everything will go well.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Santiago. Like this, you hit the nail on the head. This is a good movie. People are not like I have not seen one negative review, and that is why I pushed so hard to get this interview. And again, thank you so much for your time. Here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing. And Santiago, you and your team, y'all are doing just fine. I look forward to the next one.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse. I mean, it was a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for giving me also some space because writers we don't get so much space, and I think it's good to hear for the creators of the story. So thank you for giving me this space, and I'm glad you liked it. I'm very, very happy that you liked the movie.
I am one of the few people that likes, I love to interview talent, but at the same time, for me, I like to interview the mind, the creative, like heart behind the film. And so when they offered me talking to you, I had to take that opportunity. So thank you so much for talking to me because, again, like you said, it is a good film. And I can't wait to share it with my audience as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jesse. It was my pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for giving me this space.